time, and then the next person starts talking about their day working in the office. That's not what this is going to be, because that kind of a story does not make sense. Everybody understands. You can say whatever story you want. I'm not going to tell you what to talk about. However, if you do decide to go once upon a time, it's going to stay as a fairy tale the entire time. If you decide to talk about backpacking in Italy, it's going to stay backpacking in Italy, right? Right. Okay. Whatever you want to do, whatever the first person says, that's how it's going to continue throughout the rest of it. Now the props, what we're going to do with the props, you have to somehow incorporate that prop into your 2 minutes. Then the next person is going to have to incorporate their prop into their 2 minutes. I'm sorry, 1 to 2 minutes, and so forth until the last person speaks. And of course, you all brought different props. And with the different props, it is somehow going to make sense. And I'm not going to pick the order, because I'm going to let you guys pick the order ahead of time. If someone wants to go first, great. If someone wants to go last, great. And if you want to go second, third, however, which order you want, we'll do that. I'm not going to put you on the spot that way. So I figure right now we'll pick the order. Who wants to go first? Kim. Okay, so Kim's going to go first. Who wants to go second?
I can go.
Jim said.
You can go second. Okay.
Jim said he can go. I can go after Jim.
Okay, you'll go third then. Then Jim will go second. And you have to remember this, right? Because I figure I could let Kim talk first and then go to Jim, but it would be more of a story if you just jumped in right after Kim talks, you know? That would be more story-ish rather than me going, okay, now Jim, you go, right? Okay. Okay, so first Kim, then Jim, then Anand. Who wants to go fourth?
I can go next.
Okay, Sanket fourth. All right, so then we're left with
Scott said he wanted to go too. He said too. Scott raised his hand.
So I can
Yeah,
go.
Scott's been complaining a lot, hasn't Scott? All right, so Scott's been complaining he hasn't gotten to do any of the fun meetings. So we'll put Scott fifth. All right, so then we're left with Andre.
And
So
our guest, Randy.
And our guest, yes. I'm not going to force our guest to participate in this if our guest doesn't want to, but does our guest, Brandy, would you like to participate in this?
I will do it. I'll go sixth.
You'll go sixth. Sixth, okay. And then Andre, you will have the lucky job of rounding us up and finishing everything, okay? So I'm going to repeat the order one more time, okay? So Kim is going first, then Jim is going second, then Anand is going third, then Sanket is going fourth, then Scott is going fifth, then Brandy is going sixth, and then Andre is finishing the story at seventh. And you all have a prop, correct?
Do we have to show a prop before we start the story?
You don't have to show the prop before you tell the story. And the entire 1 to 2 minutes doesn't have to be about the prop. You just have to somehow incorporate the prop into your 1 to 2 minutes. So if it's only one sentence, that's fine. It can only be one sentence. But let's say the first person who talks wants to spend the entire 2 minutes talking about how he found this great map, and he pulls out this map, and he was at this bar trying to decide where he was going to spend his summer vacation. And he talked to everyone around him, and everyone was hooting and hollering and deciding that he wants to go to Germany. And a bunch of drunk guys at the bar told him to go to Germany, and they kept pointing to this map, and it becomes a story about the map. Then you could do that as well. But you don't have to. I was just ad-libbing that description of how to spend the 2 minutes. But of course, if you just want to make one sentence about the prop, you could do that as well. It's up to you. But you can't spend the 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes without mentioning the prop.
Okay. Scott, you're timing everybody. They're 1 minute, 2 minute, 2.5 minutes.
Are we going we going to do like green, yellow, red, or do we just 2 minutes?
We can do green, yellow, red. Yeah.
Okay.
So green at,
Green at
1 minute.
1, yellow at 1.5, and red at 2.
Okay.
all right.
Okay. Is everyone good? And this is going to be a seamless transition. I'm not going to call one person to the next. You guys know your order, right? Okay. Whenever you're ready, Kim.
All right, so I am retired and I decided that I'm going to travel the world. And I'm not just going to go one way. I'm going to do some backpacking. I'm going to do some camping. I'm going to do some flying. I'm going to do some boat travel and some helicopter. I'm just trying everything. So I'm bringing, though, my favorite little copper pitcher. Now, this is so multi-useful. I use it to make sure I have fresh copper infused water every morning when I wake up. So wherever I am, I'm going to be able to have my water. Whether I'm camping, I have to go scoop it out of the river, or whether I'm at the hotel getting the water from their dispenser. And the reason this copper, our body needs that. And it just helps it synthesize the other nutrients that our body needs that I'll be getting from the food that I eat. My first stop is Arizona. That's where I'm starting from. That's where I am, but I'm headed to Sedona, where they have that beautiful red rock, and just get all of that wonderful vortex energy for my trip. I will travel through those red rocks, going hiking in the mountains there, the Red Rock Mountains, and down into the rivers. There are some rivers in the valley there, and that's where I'll get my water. And I also have one refill bottle in my backpack and a hydration vest. So I've got my water for the trip, and I will just enjoy the food at some of the many restaurants that are up there in Sedona and all around the northern parts, heading north in Arizona from Phoenix, maybe even visit Oro Valley. I'm going to go by car. And so, like I said, I'll be doing some backpacking, I'll be doing some camping, and I'll be using all kinds of travel transportation. And I will end my trip with a bang.
Speaking of traveling in a car, I must say it is very difficult to be nascent when you're traveling with a device like this. This is a device that is used to hold your cell phone. And you can see by this little thing down here, this goes in a cup holder, and it goes down into the cup holder. One of the disadvantages of this device is it takes up one of your cup slots. So you only have one left. And it's dangerous in the fact that they encourage you to use cell phones when you're traveling and when you're driving. When I think about that, for me, it's not such a good thing because it's difficult to do multiple things, what you have to do when you're traveling with a cell phone. This particular device I found was not good for me. And the main reason why it's not good for me when I'm traveling is because it sits slower. And then on a cell phone, you have a GPS, and a GPS points you in the right direction. Yes, you can tell it where you want to go. It'll verbally tell you where to go, but it's kind of nice to see the route a little bit so you can kind of see where you need to turn left or to turn right. But when you're looking down, like I had to do with this device, that wasn't good. So I thought about it and I said, man, this just is not a good thing. So then my son came up with the thought, and he was looking for another device that would hold his cell phone in the car, and it goes in the CD slot. So it sits up a little bit higher. So it's kind of at the same level as when you're looking out the windshield when you're traveling. So I thought that was a good idea. So I went ahead and ordered one. So I highly recommend that when you're traveling, going around and seeing those great sights, to keep your eyes on the road, keep them up on the windshield, and not be distracted by looking lower at that cell phone in the console. And I'm going to have a wonderful time when I travel, and I'm sure everyone here will also.
When you have a cup holder, use it to keep a cup. Don't use it for a cell phone. Now, I have this Boni Mama bottle here. Have you had Boni Mama jam? Well, that's not what's in here. I have a powder which I call a magic powder. It's green tea. But this green tea, you mix it up in your copper cup and make tea out of it. Keep it in your cup holder. When you're going on a long trip, it will keep you awake all the while. It might seem nascent to you when I tell you this, but many of us fall asleep on the wheel, and you need to stay awake and alert. This magic powder, green tea, will really help you stay awake. You can stop by at Starbucks, mix up the green tea, and drink it along your way when you need to get some caffeine and stay alert and awake. That's about my story. I will keep driving around in Sedona and maybe get my energy boost using my green tea in my Boni Mama jam bottle whenever I need it.
All right. So while vacationing in Sedona, I've done so much drinking in my copper cup. I was tired of holding such a big camera. As much as I love to take photos, it's just too heavy. Trying to decide to use cell phone or camera, I felt like I was too tired actually taking pictures. And I was really wide awake by drinking so much green tea. So I decided, okay, I need to shift my gear. So I decided to take a notebook, very old school, and start writing a journal about my trip. Because I love traveling, and I thought I would start writing about day one and share my experience, not through online blog, but actually just for myself. Write blog in a notebook, and hopefully, after many decades, my great grandkids will read the story and cherish my trip stories. And I love writing. So every day, since I'm vacationing, I just enjoy all day hiking during the day. And in the evening, in my hotel room, I just sit in the balcony, sip my glass of wine, and I just write my blog in my book about how I spend the day. And I'm loving every single day. And Sedona is awesome. I'm so glad I'm vacationing in Arizona right now, and I love it. Thank you.
Okay, this trip started and it's going really well. We are traveling the world in a car with a next generation technology cup holder, drinking lots of green tea magic powder that keeps you awake for many, many days. And with that, because I couldn't sleep, I took out my notebook and I started blogging about everything we were doing. So that nascent, the idea that we would travel to Hollywood, where I received my Oscar for great acting after many nights of drinking that magic powder tea. I was giving the award for Best Picture of Lead Actor in a Western Comedy. And so this has been an amazing trip. Unfortunately, I've not been able to remember most of it because I haven't slept in weeks. But thankfully, our next generation cup holder has kept us in line in our trips. And our trip will continue on to other areas of the country, and we will keep going until we run out of gas or energy, one of the two, whichever comes first. And with that, I will conclude my portion. Thank you.
So after traveling so much and being exhausted, I decide to get some rest. So I check into a hotel, a fancy hotel at that. Since I've now won an Oscar, I have lots of money that I can just spend and treat myself. And in the hotel, I'm super tired, but I'm feeling kind of lonely and homesick. So I decide to fly my favorite bestie in the world into town with me, which is my dog Waffles. She's a Maltese, and I don't go anywhere without her. This is a special trip. So I miss her. I fly her in, and she meets up with me in the morning. And we decide to get back on the road after a good night of sleep. And we travel from Hollywood. We head towards the beach, driving up the coast and stopping every chance that we get to visit little towns here and there, getting to know the people along the way. And I realized that I left a very important thing at home for my bestie Waffles. She's such a diva, and she insists on being clean at all times. And she is very particular about her teeth. So I have to make a stop in order to get her favorite toothpaste, tartar control for dogs, so that we can brush her teeth and she can be comfortable with herself. And so we can get back on our journey on the road, traveling to the beach. We head up towards Santa Monica, up north towards Santa Barbara, and we just live it up on the beach and have a good time with each other. And I'll end it there.
Wow. Since the nascent of my retirement, I can't believe of all the places that I've been and all the things that I've brought with me that I cherish. Jeez. I mean, I have my copper pitcher, which throughout the whole traveling, I brought my calculator. My calculator. And I decided with the water that I'm putting into the pitcher, how many grams per molar of copper is actually in the water that I'm drinking that may or may not affect me. Well, that's when I stopped by to McDonald's, got a cup, and poured my water in there, and I noticed, geez, I don't have a cup holder because my cell phone is stuck in there. But thanks to my son, I mean, I was able to purchase the state-of-the-art CD cup holder, which now I have space to put my magic powder. Fantastic. What a great scenario that I found myself. But through that experience, and I'm just reflecting on it, geez, I grabbed my notebook. I had to log in all the great stuff that I'm seeing, doing, and experience just with the items that I have. And I was like, you know what? I forgot my Oscar in Hollywood. I might as well take a trip back there and get this award for my Emmy-winning Western. And yeah, and try to recollect what I was doing in California. But I missed a little piece of home. I had to fly in my bestie, Waffles, and noticed that he didn't have toothpaste. So got toothpaste, went out to the beach, checked out, other spots in California. And my greatest fear going to Hollywood was the fact that I may run out of energy or run out of gas. So I grabbed my calculator to calculate how many miles I had. And instead, I found that my battery ran out, so I couldn't even calculate it. And that's my story. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Good job.
Oh my gosh, that was so entertaining. I think you guys did a really great job with that. I have recaps of everything you guys said for the voting. Let me just go through that really quickly. We'll start off with Kim. Although I don't know if you really need a recap because you managed to put everything everybody said, but still, I'm going to go through this. Kim started off with a copper infused cup that you somehow all managed, I believe, to mention that, which is excellent, that she uses to keep her healthy as she travels. And she mentioned that her first stop was Sedona, Arizona. Then we go to Jim, who was having trouble finding a device to keep his cell phone in. And then managed to, I believe it started out in the cup holder, but it moved to other places. And then it turned into a magical cup holder as the story continued. Then Anand had tea that he used to help himself from falling asleep at the wheel. And I believe Anand, Andre, and Scott used the word of the day. If anyone else did, let me know. But those are the three that I caught. Then we moved on to Sanketh, who said that he kept a journal so that he could write about his trip in Sedona. Then, Scott said that he won an Oscar for Best Actor in a Western. Then Brandy said that because she won the Oscar, she is now staying at a hotel and flew in her Maltese named Waffles, and that she forgot her dog toothpaste that she would use. So that was her item. Then Andre wrapped things up by saying that he brought a calculator and mentioned everything that everybody previously had brought up. The Oscar, the copper cup, etc. And that this was my favorite part, when you said that you were going to calculate the moles, which instantly took me back to chemistry in high school. I remember thinking, I don't remember the last time I heard that was high school chemistry class. So extra props for bringing up moles. That's it. That is a recap of what everyone said. Great job remembering what everyone said as we continued and incorporating that as well as the props and your individual props. It almost sounds realistic. Like that could actually happen to someone, minus the Emmy, Oscar stuff. That couldn't actually happen, but everything else was legitimate. And I'm gonna incorporate the word of the day. Hold on. I think our table topics concept was nascent, in that it was an idea, but it eventually turned into an actual story. So there, I use the word nascent.